I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Katie Huffaker.
Here.
Todd Kesterson.
Here.
Steve Douglas.
Here.
David Goff.
Here.
Randy Baxter.
Here.
Rita Music.
Here.
Donnie Tabor. John McGraw.
Here.
Russell Turner.
Here.
Tim Seals.
Here.
Sammy Solomon.
Here.
Robert Blevins.
Here.
Gene Esslinger.
Here.
Randy Bales.
Here.
John Neal Scarlett.
Here.
Harry Dockery.
Here.
Robert Tucker.
Here.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Here.
David Seal.
Here.
Bob Beeler.
Here.
Barbara Sheets.
Here.
Would everyone please stand for prayer, led by Commissioner John McGraw.
Bow with me as we pray. Kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight committing this meeting into your hands. We thank you for the ability to call upon your name. We thank you for the commissioners that are here and all the public servants that have gathered here tonight. We thank you for our elected officials and for the outstanding job they do for our county and its citizens. Father, we have a full agenda tonight. We have some very difficult votes ahead of us. Father, I claim your promise in James chapter 1. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of you, who gives to us liberally. And Father, we ask for that wisdom tonight, that each deliberation, that each vote will be with wisdom from you, our Almighty God, omniscient Lord and Master. Father, there have been times in my life when I've been afraid. And like the psalmist, what time I'm afraid, I will trust in you. Father, the mountain of debt, the problems of our county are sometimes fearful as we look at them. But the greater the mountain, the greater our trust needs to be in you. And so, Father, I commit this meeting to your care, your watch care, your safekeeping. May your wisdom be on all of us tonight, and may we ultimately trust in you for the answers that will do best for the citizens of our county. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Would you please join us with the Pledge of Allegiance? Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have before you this evening the approval and correction of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman.
Sir.
I need to swap the order on, when you get to the Budget Committee, I need to move the Highway Land Purchase Reserve above the other budget amendments, and it'll explain itself when we get there, if that's okay with everybody.
Question or comment? If not, so be, Mr. Scarlett. Anyone else? You have before you minutes from the quarterly sessions meeting, January the 20th, 2015.
I'd like to make the motion this time to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Mr. John McGraw. Mr. Tucker, is that a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Anyone opposed? If not, so moved. I haven't received any appearance of citizens. You have before you on number 8 approval of notaries and bonds.
So moved.
Mr. Scarlett.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Baxter. Anyone opposed? Thank you. Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, the County Commission, as I expressed Monday,
You have in the packet interlocal cooperative agreement for fire protection service with the town of Dandridge. This is standard. We use these with the other municipalities. We've done it for multiple years here in Jefferson County. I'd like to ask County Commission for a motion second and to approve this interlocal agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Turner, second by Ms. Barbara Sheets. Any question or comment? Anyone opposed? Thank you. Thank you, sir. The other item that I have is just to bring the County Commission's attention for action is the pilot program for the Rusty Wallace Ford dealership. Mr. Tucker.
Mr. Chairman, is that part of our new business, or would it be okay to make a motion at this point?
It would be fine to make a motion at this point.
I move that we amend the proposed plan to be 25% for the first 5 years and 50% for years 6 to 10.
Are you making the motion for the whole deal and then amending it?
I'm making a motion first to amend it, and then after we get it amended, then I'll move to accept the amended motion.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Bob Baylor. Question or comment? Anyone? If not, Mr. Tucker, are you ready for a vote?
Point of order. So you're making the motion, Mr. Scarlett, help me.
You have to get the motion on the floor first.
Exactly.
You'll have to make a motion to move the thing, and then you'll have to amend it. You've not got it on the floor.
I apologize. So I make a motion to approve the IDB proposal with the amendments to be 25% for years 1 through 5 and 50% abatement years 6 through 10. Is that a better way to do that?
You can do that.
Thank you, Ms. Parliamentarian.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Is the second still standing?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Baylor. Question or comment to the previous statement? If not, sir.
Would a question be in order for the applicant of the pilot program?
Sure.
Okay. I'd like to address a question to the applicant of the pilot program. I have read your application, and the information that we have from the Finance Office indicates that you will invest in excess of $4 million capital in the project. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are you bound by agreement to invest that much money in order to get the abatement you're asking for?
We've not signed any agreements with any governing body or anybody like that. What we've put in our application are the numbers that we know to be accurate numbers based on what we have to do to satisfy the manufacturer's requirements, all the other things that we have to do in order to have their approval to make the change and make the relocation and build the building that they require.
The nature of my question has to do with whether or not you are bound to make that investment for the amount of abatement you're going to receive.
We're not, we haven't signed any agreement that says that. So I guess my position would be that I haven't signed an agreement, but my representation is accurate that I would have to spend that money in order to come to that site to relocate the dealership there.
In order to get the abatement.
I guess that would be true, yes, because if we didn't come to Jefferson County, there would be no abatement to be had, and so yes, that would be true.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Turner?
I was just thinking it's along the same kind of lines, but
and you can obviously elect not to answer, but are things that so tight as that we would make this amendment that it would create a burden or a hardship that could potentially steer you away from our area?
As I said the other night, in our application for the pilot program, we put in there what we felt like we needed to make the numbers work. I also stated that we weren't so heck bent on it that, you know, if you didn't do exactly what we needed, we'd take our marbles and go somewhere else. So your answer would be no, it's not that tight, but it would require us to go back and really look at the numbers and make sure that it's the kind of move that we'd need to make based on the investment we have to make to come to decide in Jefferson County. As I told you the other night, a lot of the burden for this project falls on me as an individual and as a business person, as the head of the company. So whatever I do, I'm going to do with real careful consideration to make sure that I feel like that the risk we would be taking to spend $4 million would be something that we'd have a good opportunity to stay in business for a long period of time and be able to serve the county and make a profit as a business. So, you know, we would really have to, we'd look at the numbers on there. Having that assistance from the county, having that assistance on the tax side of it makes a difference. It really does. You know, I can't sit here and say that it wouldn't make a difference. It does. You know, and then when I look at the other side of the equation is, I hope that it would make a difference for the county for us to be here in terms of, you know, we talk about the numbers and the investments and what the county would get out of the deal, and I think the budget people talked about the amount of taxes that are being paid on the property now and what would be collected and things like that, and the numbers have gone back and forth. And what I look at is, you know, we talked about return on investment for the county, and there were some numbers put on the paper, but really the return on the investment would be immeasurable because the county wouldn't have any investment. You wouldn't have to spend $1 for us to come there, and the return for the property, what it's bringing now on an annual basis versus what it would bring, you know, over the 10-year basis, is an immeasurable number. It goes from about, let's see, it was about $59,000 to up in the $500,000 range. So a 10 times improvement over what you're getting now without any investment is a pretty good deal. So, you know, hopefully it'd be a good deal for Jefferson County, for the people, and it would be a good deal for us too, and that we would be a good part of the community if we can make all this work. So.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your comments. And I'm looking at the chart you're referring to, and I can defer a question to the finance director if I'm not correct, but the pilot program of a 5-year abatement that goes 0, 25, 50, 75, 100% would bring in $728,000 and some dollars, but compared to the proposed abatement of 25% for 10 years is $529,203 with a delta of $198,810.
That's correct.
Over a 10-year period. My problem, I don't want to do anything to run business away. I would do anything to help bring business in, and I don't want to see us do anything that would potentially cause you to change your mind. So I would ask all of us to think seriously about what we're being proposed and think deeply about how you want to go with this. But I don't necessarily support what we're about to try to do here. I do support what's being proposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Mr. Randy Baxter.
Call for the question.
Question has been called. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. If you are for this motion, you vote yes. If you're against this motion, vote no. It's for a motion in the amendment.
You're voting on a motion, a proposed motion. He didn't move this chart.
Right.
What he moved was a separate motion.
Right.
Has nothing to do, it's all one deal. It's not an amendment. You're voting on the...
Is everyone clear you're voting on one motion? There was no amendment. It's all in one motion.
This is not an amendment to the proposal. This is an amended proposal. Right off the bat, if you vote this thing through, it'll go.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarity, could the motion that you're voting on please be restated?
Sure. You got it, Dan.
You want me to try it? It's basically, I'm moving that we accept an IDB abatement program, but that program, instead of being 25% for 10 years, would be 25% for 5 years and 50% for 5 years.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Is everyone clear on that?
No, I'm not. Point of order.
Point of order.
I want to know where it says that we can agree to amend something and vote on it.
Not amended.
We're not amending it.
Well, you're changing it.
You're not amending. This
He
was
made
not.
it.
He's making.
All this was IDB's proposal. That what we're being showed. What his
That's
motion
right.
does is completely separate with this committee.
The confusion lies in, he called it an amendment when it was actually a motion. It's a
Mr. Tucker,
standalone
from what I
motion.
understand, Mr. Tucker, you made a motion totally standalone, separate of what the proposal was. You're just making a separate motion. Is that correct?
That's correct. I simply acknowledge the proposal because everybody's understanding what the proposal is, and I'm trying to show them the difference in my motion versus the proposal.
Is everyone clear? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker.
No.
Todd Kesterson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
David Galt.
No.
Randy Baxley.
Yes.
Rita Music.
No.
John McGraw.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
No.
Tim Seals.
No.
Sammy Solomon.
No.
Robert Blevins.
No.
Gene Esslinger.
No.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett.
No.
Terry Dockery.
No.
Robert Tucker.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
No.
David Seal.
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
Nine to, what, 11? Vote was 9 to 11. Motion failed.
Make a motion to accept the IDB proposal.
Mr. David Galt made a motion to accept the original motion brought by the IDB, is seconded by Mr. Russell Turner.
Mr. Chairman, it
Sir.
would be the original proposal.
That's what I said, original proposal.
Okay.
The original proposal was 10 years at 25% tax abatement. I would really want to emphasize that to be clear. Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker.
Yes.
Todd Kesterson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
No.
David Galt.
Yes.
Randy Baxley.
Yes.
Rita Music.
No.
John McGraw.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
Yes.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
No.
Gene Esslinger.
No.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett.
No.
Terry Dockery,
No.
Robert Tucker,
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael,
Yes.
David Seal,
Yes.
Bob Beeler,
No.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
13-7. Motion passes 13-7. Mr. David Gott.
I don't know what proper procedure, it's got to be an emotion or what, but we need to definitely address this on the retail side for IDB or whoever addresses it. But in the meantime, anything that comes before IDB definitely needs to be handled on a case-by-case basis. This doesn't need to set any precedent for anything that comes in the future.
Do you wish for that to be on the IDB's schedule for next month? Mr. Helton,
We've already talked about that, and we are going to take that up.
you are going to take that up. Question or comment?
How does that work? Does IDB propose something and we accept what they propose, or do they have liberty to do what they want to put down, or?
Yes, once this came to us and we know this is a new, the IDB has already discussed about taking it up and trying to establish policies and procedures to deal with this. Now, it'll have to come back. Of course, we'll want to work in conjunction with the other two IDB boards. That'll be White Pine and Jefferson City. Because remember, when this was formed, it was to have a unified plan throughout the county. And so when they do that, then we'll have to go to Jefferson City, White Pine, hopefully, and get them to work with us on establishing policies and procedures for this.
And then does county commission have input, approval, or we take what you give us?
Created that.
The Industrial Development Board work for us. Yes, I'm almost sure yes, there would have to be that. I'm trying to remember if we brought that to you originally. That's too far back for me to remember, but I would assume so.
So can we request that it does, and then remove all assumptions? And
Of course.
request that it would come before us before it is
Of course.
put into place?
Yes. I will take that.
Hang on just a second, Mr. Turner.
Larry Masters, he told me he could not be here tonight because of
Mr.
another
Seal,
commitment.
question
But
or comment?
I will take that to the IDB board and make sure that you're wanting them to bring that to county commission. And I'll also check with attorneys and make sure that what legally has to be done as well.
Mr. Seal, then Mr. Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make a couple of comments about the motion we just passed concerning Commissioner Gott's comments there on retail. I think retail is one of the places where we've missed it in the past. And if we just use Industrial Development Board just to concentrate on manufacturing industries, we're going to keep missing it. And one of the reasons I voted for this is because it was a proposal that asked us to give up so little to gain so much, and I think that's exactly where we need to be going with this. And if we're painted into a box just on the manufacturing side, we're going to keep missing. I just wanted to point that out, and if I ever have an opportunity to address IDB, I would like to do that and send us in this direction. The other thing that concerns me too, we're not doing enough for small business and existing business, and I'd like to see us head in that direction too. This proposal that we just approved didn't violate anybody's property rights. It's appropriately located, and it's going to be good for the county. And thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Seal. Mr. Turner, you have the floor.
I would agree with what the previous commissioner said. Also, having spoken with somebody in Nashville the past couple of days that's well-versed in abatements and TIFs, he advised that to be very careful about the wording of our policies, and that we don't necessarily need to go and change wording to include retail, because if we do, we could set ourselves up for a heavy precedence. but doesn't mean we can't consider retail at any time. And I think what we've done today is a good example of that. We can do good things no matter what our policy said when it's right for the county. So I'd just ask that the board be careful about making any kind of changes like that unless we all talk about it and discuss it openly and make a good decision on that.
Well, we've already started at getting the information what other counties doing. I think that's always a good thing to look at other counties and see what they maybe have in place and work off of that possibly. So we're going to do that anyway. So.
Mr. Mayor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to bring a little bit more clarity on the present policy that we have, that policy was drafted by the IDB. It was then taken to each one of the municipalities in the county, and their legislative bodies approved it. Of course, it was reviewed by their individual attorneys. It was also reviewed by the IDB attorney. It then came to County Commission for County Commission to approve it, because anytime there's an abatement, it may impact or affect the municipality. So everybody was on board at the time. All legislative bodies in the county dealt with that, and I'm sure that that's what will take place this time. But there was wording that was built into this abatement program to allow flexibility. Since economy changes on a regular basis, nobody knows how it's going to change, and it also allowed for some variances that could be included. But it'll definitely come back for this body for approval. That's all I have. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Mayor, you rest on your number 3. The comprehensive financial plan.
Just for an update, I can give you an update, sir. We met this morning at 9 o'clock. We had a meeting that lasted 45 minutes. We reviewed some of the history of why we got into the shape that we're in at the present time. We talked about a multitude of alternatives to reduce our indebtedness and also to provide a sounder fiscal base for Jefferson County. We ended the meeting by all of us going in different directions to find out different pieces of information, at which time we can come back and start putting together some kind of a plan to present to the Budget Committee, which will eventually come to County Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. Moving right along, we're down to Mr. Finance Director Langdon Potts. Sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. Commissioners, you have in front of you a resolution to update our wiring authorization with First Tennessee. It adds me to the account and updates Ms. Bledsoe, her approval level.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Tim Seal, seconded by David Seal. Mr. Clerk, we'll need to call the roll because that's handling money.
Katie Huffaker.
Yes.
Todd Keskerson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
David Goff.
Yes.
Randy Baxter.
Yes.
Rita Music.
Yes.
John McGraw.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
Yes.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
Yes.
Gene Esslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Nell Scarlett.
Yes.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Robert Tucker.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Yes.
David Seal.
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
Passes. Mr. Langdon, you got the floor once again.
Okay, the next item is the debt management policy. We're required to review this once a year. No changes from the policy from prior years, exactly as we have.
Have a motion to approve by Mr. Turner and a second by Mr. Solomon. Does anyone oppose? So moved. Thank you, Mr. Potts.
Thank you.
Does anyone have anything for UT Extension? Melissa LaGraff? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening. You have our 2014 county report in front of you, and in this report you can read about our programming efforts and accomplishments in 2014 in our 3 program areas: agriculture, family consumer sciences, and 4-H youth development. I did want to let you know tonight that we will have a change in staffing this year. as of April 1st, our agriculture agent, Adam Hopkins, will be moving to an area specialist position with UT Extension, working with the Manage program. So he will be helping farm families with farm and financial planning for 16 counties here in the eastern region. But he's not going anywhere. He's actually going to be housed in our Dandridge office. He will be assisting Jefferson County farmers as he can until we're able to fill that ag agent position. And we plan to open that position by July at the latest, and then we'll begin the hiring process at that point. So I wanted to inform you on that. You may have noticed on the county report a few new logos for UT Extension and the University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture. The Institute of Agriculture recently unveiled a new branding campaign to create a more cohesive visual identity for the Institute. UT Extension is one of 4 units in the University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture, along with Ag Research, the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, and the College of Veterinary Medicine. So everyone has a new look. We also have a new tagline or brand promise for the Institute, and it's there in the bottom left-hand corner on the front page, Real Life Solutions. And they chose that because it really speaks to what we do every day, not only in Extension, but in the other 3 units in the Institute. And that's working to find answers to society's many challenges. UT Extension wanted to capitalize on this new branding campaign, and so they created March Extension Month. And that's not only to promote our new brand, but also to attract new users to Extension, as well as recognize those who support us and use us regularly. So enclosed in your report is a save the date. It looks like this. So we will be having an open house to celebrate and recognize March Extension Month, and it's at the end of the month on Wednesday, March 25th. So we definitely want to invite you all to come and stop by our office between the hours of 11 and 1 to come meet the rest of our staff and recognize Extension here in Jefferson County.
Question or comment? Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, before we leave the department heads, could Mr. Frank give us a quick lesson on the wheel? I know we're going to talk about wheel tax in a minute, but on that new sticker program you've got, what it looks like for anybody that doesn't know, and what you changed, that we've not got 2 stickers anymore, we got 1.
We went to printing the stickers in our office versus buying wheel tax stickers and getting state stickers from the state sent to us. We're printing the stickers in the office, and with printing those, the state has allowed us to tag our wheel tax on top of their sticker per se. They provide us with the sticker stock and the registration cards, and in the lower right-hand corner of that decal, you'll see a TP printed, and that is the county wheel tax. They have a Jefferson County banner at the bottom of their plate, and they have a year and a TN up in the top right-hand corner, but no TP. They've not paid their county wheel tax. Or if it's a county resident who doesn't have the TP on there, got an out-of-county plate, they bought their vehicle out of county, it's been registered out of county with the Jefferson County address, they've not come in and done their wheel tax compliance. But if it has a TP, you won't have a second sticker in the bottom right-hand corner. But if it has the TP in that sticker, TP stands for tax paid. They've complied with their wheel tax.
Mr. Galt.
Would there be a situation where you print a sticker that does not have a TP?
The only time we print in the office a sticker for a Jefferson County resident without a TP is anytime they don't require one, be it they have, of course, a trailer, anything like that doesn't require a wheel tax. If it's someone who, active military, who qualifies for a free wheel tax, they still get the TP. It's no charge.
So for vehicles, none of your stickers will be printed without the TP?
Not for county residents. Okay. If someone buys a vehicle at a local car lot who lives out of county, we don't charge them the wheel tax because they're not a county resident. Okay. So they wouldn't have that.
Any one question or comment? Mr. John McGraw.
Would it be appropriate, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to know from our sheriff how enforceable is the wheel tax, and who's in charge of enforcing it, and how he goes about in his particular business, and is he the sole person? I know the clerk does some, but would it be appropriate to ask the sheriff that question?
Sure. Sheriff, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, sir. I can give you some updates on how it is the sheriff's office's responsibility to enforce the wheel tax. As Frank has pointed out, the new wheel tax stickers are a little bit harder to determine. The old time, when you had the other separate stickers, it's a lot easier to see. Now the officers have to look a lot closer to make sure they see the TP sticker at the bottom of the regular sticker. It saved them some money in printing tags. It's a little harder for us to see, but we have to get a little closer and pay more attention to it. We have several ways that we enforce the wheel tax. Over a week ago, Commissioner Huffaker came to me and asked about the same question you're asking now, and asked about the schools. So I informed her that once a year we go around to all the schools. I have one of my guys go around and they watch the parents load the children, unload the children, and see which ones does have wheel tax, which ones doesn't have wheel tax, and make notes of the ones that don't have the wheel tax. I told her we'd go ahead and start that now. At her request, we would do it at this point. We usually do it once a year, no particular time. We don't tell anybody when we're doing it because they can make sure they drive their car that has wheel tax to it that day. But we started it this week, and I'll give you some numbers that we have already determined. We did visit Talbert Elementary, and at Talbert we had 9 cars that showed up without a wheel tax sticker. And we went to New Market Elementary. They had 14 vehicles that showed up without a wheel tax sticker. We went to Jerson Elementary, and they had 12 vehicles at that point. And we went to Jerson Middle School, and they had 15 show up without wheel tax stickers. And we went to Rush Strong School, and we had 28 show up without wheel tax stickers. What you have to keep in mind is, on enforcing this wheel tax law, a lot of our grandparents deliver their kids. A lot of people that have vehicles outside the county, and their grandparents live outside the county, and they come in to pick up their children in the schools or in the county and take them to school for the parents. They don't have to buy a wheel tax sticker, so we have to determine who has to have the wheel tax sticker out of these vehicles that showed up without them. So what we do is, I have a part-time officer that serves all our wheel taxes for us, and he's doing this for us right now. And when he brings them in, we run them through our NCIC, check to see who they're registered to, trace the tags down, and determine if that person is a county resident without a wheel tax. At that time, my intention is you go to Tim Seal, or Tim Satterfield, not Seal, but who is our wheel tax compliance officer that the county hired several years ago. And he writes a letter to these people to tell them their vehicle has a wheel tax sticker, and give them 30 days to come in and comply with it. If they don't, then a criminal summons is issued. Once that criminal summons is issued, we serve the criminal summons. He don't. It's turned over to us. We trace down the people, serve the criminal summons, set them a court date, and they come to court on that criminal summons. We have made an effort to make sure we serve all the wheel tax violations. I do have some right now that haven't been served, because if you have few that come in, by the time you go, they've moved from that residence. And they've moved to Hamlin County, Granger County, Knox County, and we have to trace them down in those counties to still serve that wheel tax. I'd say on the average, on serving, to try to serve that, to warrant, it costs the sheriff's office a minimum of $100 per summons to try to locate that person and serve it. I looked up today, and we have served 450 warrants for violation of this wheel tax law. It is enforceable. We try to do our best and continue to do it. You have to realize, too, on these schools that the drop-off places are 2 different places most of the time. So we have to make 2 different trips to watch one side one morning, at the evening, and watch the other side, where the parents are at 2 different locations to get an accurate count. And these numbers that I gave you are just on one location that's delivering them. So we're going to make an effort to go to all the schools. And when I get the complete list, I'll make a report to you at Ms. Huffaker's request.
Mr. Turner. Hey, Mr. Tucker.
Sheriff, I realized 28 at Rush Stronget. Once you get to the high school, it'll probably, when you visit it, it'll probably be much higher, I would expect, since you haven't visited the high school, I understand.
Visited the high school yet? No, we haven't.
Just for information, teachers can teach in the county, and their children can go to school in this county, but they can live outside the county and not have a wheel tax. So there could be a lot of teachers that live out of the county, come to school, drop off their kids at school, and go to work at school. And so that's just one caveat that we need to remember when we see a lot of potentially teachers driving around without a county tags, with no wheel tax. Question that's been asked to me several times, and maybe you might not be the one, Sheriff, to ask, or maybe you are. It's been asked, what about all the Carson Newman students? Has that ever been approached as a way that should students who are here 4 years, living on campus and driving our roads, having every benefit of the highways that we have, has it ever been studied to determine if students, Carson Newman students, should pay a wheel tax? I've been asked, I don't know.
We have approached that. We have looked at that, and if a Carson Newman student comes here and registers to vote, that makes them a county resident, and they have to buy the county wheel tax sticker. If they're a student and they haven't changed their voting place, they're a resident of wherever they live and not here. But if they change their voting rights to Jefferson County, they become a Jefferson County resident, and they do have to buy the wheel tax.
And that's state law?
Yes.
Anyone else, question or comment? Ms. Huffaker.
Can you tell me if a city police officer pulls someone over, can they write the person a ticket, or can they let you know if they don't have a wheel tax?
Yes, a lot of them won't write the ticket for the wheel tax. They'll actually hire one of our officers to come by, and we'll write them a citation for the county wheel tax, but they can't. It's state law.
Technically, can they write the ticket?
I think so.
That has been debatable from the Attorney General's officers quite a bit. In my opinion, they could, but they say that the county wheel tax law is a county enforced law, but it is part of your registration, so it is a violation of your registration if you don't comply with the county law. So my opinion is they could. So it'll be up to the Attorney General to make that opinion.
Anyone else, question or comment? Mr. Tucker.
When you talked about serving each of those, costs the Sheriff's Department about $100. I know wheel tax is $25, so it's pretty upside down. Are you able to recoup that money on the people that you do serve from the people, or do the rest of the taxpayers have to pay for
the taxpayers?
$75 difference?
The taxpayers has to pay that, but what happens is in that criminal summons, when they go to court, there's court cost, and there's an officer's fee of $15 for serving a criminal warrant. So,
is there a way to get that $15 more in line with what you're saying the actual cost is?
The judge can fine them $50 for a fine. They can fine them more, but it's up to the judge to set that fine in there. That would go back to the general fund.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else, question or comment? Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Moving right along, number 10, the unfinished business. Commissioner David Galt, you have the floor.
I brought this for looking for revenue sources. Last week, I had said that I felt like it was pretty self-explanatory. I feel like it kind of still is. Mr. Tipton last week brought a lot of information. We're here given a choice. And if it comes down to it, the citizens will have the choice whether they want to go with the wheel tax or have higher property tax, because that's where we're at right now. So,
motion stands. Question or comment? Ms. Katie Huffaker.
Can I motion to table until the next election cycle?
Sure.
Can I motion to table this until the next election cycle, like Charles D. Gibson was talking about?
You sure can.
You can move to postpone.
To postpone.
If you're going to table it, it has to be in this meeting.
You have to bring it back in this meeting.
You can postpone it till the next election cycle.
Postpone's what I think you're saying.
Okay, so can I, if I postpone it till the next election cycle and then we bring it up again and vote on it twice before, like he was talking about November, like we could bring it back up in November, vote it here.
If that's your motion, you're postponing it, you're not tabling it.
Okay, that's what I wanted to do. I want to postpone it.
Second.
You're wanting to make a motion to postpone. Sir.
I'm just going to ask a question. Is it time for that?
Hang on just a second. Let's get a motion in a second on the floor and then we'll open it up. You're making a motion to postpone to November?
Based on Charles Gibson's recommendation, and I believe it's, he said, you can vote on the resolution in 2 regularly scheduled meetings. Just make sure the second voting meeting is after November the 2nd, which triggers the 30-day window. So I want to make it.
Motion's been made. Is it seconded? Mr. Sammy Solomon seconded. Question or comment? Mr. Seals.
If we postpone or vote to postpone this, do we have to go back-to-back meetings?
Yes.
Yes.
We'll make it.
If this thing is postponed, you have to bring it on 2
consecutive.
Even if you put it on the ballot, you have to bring it on 2 consecutive meetings, is what I understand. Is that right?
That is correct.
That's what I thought.
All right.
Mr. Bales, then Mr. Tucker, then Mr. Bob.
If we pass it through, how much money are we going to lose between now and when it actually goes into effect? When we go into effect, postpone it.
You'll be into the next budget cycle.
Not for this budget year.
Not for this budget year. It'll be in the next budget year.
It's mathematically impossible to have it for this budget.
If it passed in March and you made it immediate, then you're going to lose $750,000 to $800,000.
Sure.
For the cost of an election is what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah. For the risk of losing 25.
And we absolutely need that money, so it'll have to come from somewhere, property tax or wheel tax or something. Or everybody that's working the street, that's something's got to get there. That's my only concern.
Mr. Tucker, then Mr. Baylor, then Mr. McGraw.
My only comment was that I'm not sure that Ms. Huffaker was intending to move it to November, because is he saying the second reading has to be after November 2nd?
Yes.
So you'd want your first reading at the October meeting, so the second reading would be in the November meeting, because we don't meet in December. Is that, so are you thinking October?
I just want to do it based on how he told us we could do it and then get it on the March ballot.
Okay. Well, it's your motion, so whatever you want to do with it. But I think if you're wanting the second reading to happen after November 2nd, then the first reading should be, we should look at it in October. You're postponing it, or your motion's to postpone.
Okay, you change it to.
Okay, you want to change your motion to postpone until the October work session and voting meeting cycle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Second, are you good with that?
That's fine.
Thank you, sir. Question or comment? We still got people on the floor.
Before I let go of my question, the problem with this is that right now we've got a $3.8 million deficit, and this wheel tax was going to be an answer to $1 million of it. So if we postpone this and we don't put it into this budget, then we're going to have to come up with another $1 million. So whatever we do to property tax, you're going to have to add another 10 cents in addition. Or whatever cuts we make, we're going to have to cut another $1 million out of schools or sheriffs or 911 or roads or wherever it is we're going to make these cuts. We're going to have to cut $1 million deeper, or we're going to have to raise $1 million more in property tax if we postpone this right now.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Mr. Baylor.
Is the purpose of this to put it on until, if I understand your figures right, it will be voted on March of next year, not, it'd be a year from this March is when it actually would be on the ballot. Is that correct?
Well, if it's not petitioned, it would go through the second read.
If I may interject, I think what the purpose that you mean by this is that you can hit a national election, and if it goes to forum and actually to a voter's vote, you will have a free election.
Yes, sir.
That is your purpose.
Yes. The timing's off, is what.
Mr. McGraw, are you done, Mr. Bob?
You're doing this for the main purpose to save the $25,000.
Mr. McGraw.
I certainly understand the purpose of of Commissioner Huffaker's motion, but I also understand what Commissioner Tucker has said here, because we're in a tight spot. And I listened very carefully to our citizens when they come to Mike, and we had an older gentleman come and talk about how the $25 increase in wheel tax in some older couple, would hurt them because they make $700 a month fixed income, and I know that's true. I know younger people, young families, it really hurts them. So it's across the board. It's a sacrifice. But I thought about that older couple. We don't have a whole lot of options now. The mayor did a great job today convening us, and we brainstormed and did all kinds of things to come up with tax revenue streams and whatnot. Most of those are for the future, though. They're not going to help us in this coming budget cycle. And I really thought about that elderly couple that might own a little, 800 square foot house on a little quarter acre of land. That $25 that's spread across the whole entire county might help them not have to put their house up for foreclosure, because some of them still have mortgages. Some of them still property taxes, and they're going to have to pay even more property tax if that wheel tax doesn't go through across the board. So I'm sympathetic to all the people. Our benevolence committee at my church just meets constantly with people that need. But I'm just hoping that we can spread it across, and right now, we're in a tight spot.
Anyone else?
Against the motion.
Question or comment? Mr. Gouch, you get to close quickly.
34 cents.
No, he doesn't get to close. He didn't make the motion.
Oh, that is correct. I'm sorry. I stand corrected.
Well, I was going to speak.
I almost let you speak out of order, and you've done spoke once.
Okay. You gonna let me speak?
He can close.
No, he can't close. I was wrong.
I've not spoken to Cadence.
He's not spoken to Cadence.
Well, that is correct. I'll allow it.
34 cents. That's assuming that every budget comes in flat. That's not going to happen. It's just not. 34 cents. And I don't mean any disrespect towards anybody, but if we're going to not put it in the hands of the citizen by letting them produce a petition and put it on referendum, which everybody is speaking as if that's going to happen. We're assured that that's going to happen. Then let's vote this down and go ahead and vote it for the referendum and we can put it on the March ballot tonight. We don't have to go through this process again. We can vote to put it on a referendum and then we put it in the citizens' hands that way. But let's not play the game of trying to hit October, November, and then hope a petition doesn't come in. If we want it on referendum, let's vote to put it on referendum. If we're not going to put it in the citizens' hands tonight.
Anyone else? Mr. Baxley.
Call for the question.
Question has been called. We will vote right now at the original motion to levy the wheel tax.
Vote to, you're on the postponement.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got me off my notes here. Got me thinking a different direction. I apologize. We will vote for the postponement. Is everyone clear on what they're voting for? Change my notes. Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker.
Yes.
Todd Kesterson.
No.
Steve Douglas.
No.
David Galt.
No.
Randy Baxter.
No.
Rita Music.
No.
Donnie Taylor. John McGraw.
No.
Russell Turner.
No.
Tim Seals.
No.
Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
No.
Gene Edslinger.
No.
Randy Bales.
No.
John Neal Scarlett.
No.
Terry Dockery.
No.
Robert Tucker.
No.
Jimmy Carmichael.
No.
David Seal.
No.
Bob Beeler.
No.
Barbara Sheets.
No.
18-2, motion to postpone has failed. We're back to the original motion. Mr. Galt?
Call for the question.
Call to the question. The question has been called. We will vote right now on the original motion to levy another wheel tax. Is everyone clear on what they're voting for? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker.
Yes.
Todd Kesterson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
David Galt.
Yes.
Randy Baxter.
Yes.
Rita Music.
Yes.
John McGraw.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
Yes.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon.
No.
Robert Blevins.
Yes.
Gene Edslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett.
Yes.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Robert Tucker.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Yes.
David Seal.
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
19-1. Original motion passes 19-1.
I don't know what about them, what it is. Send them, let her run. If you don't trust them, no, they voted you. That's right.
Moving along to number 11. Commissioner Terry Dockery, Resolution 2015-09.
Simply stated, this is really just a means for us to request the state of Tennessee to provide some lottery money for local schools. We all know how much debt we have. We know White Pine's still overcrowded, and we know we still know we have other needs. And I suspect there's local schools across the state of Tennessee in need as well. I'm all for higher education, and it's really in today's world a necessity, not a luxury. You really need that to be successful. But we really got to get them through high school before they can even go on to college. Using lottery money for local schools, the college scholarships are great, and they help those kids that go or help their families. financially, but if we can use some for our local schools with all our needs, that helps everyone who pays property tax, that helps everyone who pays a wheel tax or pays any taxes in the county. Lottery sales are obviously by choice. People can buy them or they cannot. I have talked to Jeremy Faison about this 2 or 3 times. He supports it, and should we approve this, he will take it to Nashville. He's talked to some other folks at Nashville, and he feels it has a fairly good chance of passing, of doing something. The 2.75%, the only reason I put that number in was just that's equal to our local sales tax. So, you know, we could say, we could amend it and we could say 5%, 10% or whatever, but at least we can say that's the minimum, because if you let us collect sales tax on it, we would get that much. Now, I have no idea what the lottery sales in Jefferson County are, or what that amount would be, but whatever it is, it's more than we have now. We did put language, and I appreciate Mr. Grennan for all his work on this resolution. I obviously can't wordsmith like that, but the maintenance of effort, it was put in there that we don't want to include it in maintenance effort, because the last thing I'd want to do is this money comes in, it comes in every year, and then lottery tickets drop, and then we have to go out to the taxpayers to replace this money. So if it were me, you know, maybe this gets paid out once a year, and if it were me, I would look at it as a one-time bonus. It's not included in the operating budget. Once you get it that year, maybe you pay off some of this $130 million debt we have. Maybe if you still need to expand at White Pine, then you decide how to use it, but you don't count on it for normal operations. Now, if I understand correctly, Mr. Drennan and Mr. Churchwell's here, if we need help, he can, I believe, help. But there's two ways to do this. One, this would request from the state to provide the money would require a change to the state constitution. It would have to go on a public referendum to let people vote on it in order for them to have the power to do that. But if it's communicated, I can't imagine a lot of people not supporting it. The other mechanism to do it is that we ask them just to simply allow us to collect the local sales tax. But then if a lottery ticket's $1, then you're going to pay $1.02 3/4. And Representative Faison felt like there would be a lot more pushback on that than keeping the nice round numbers and doing what we need to do to change the Constitution and be able to get the money without doing that. That's all I got.
Hold on. Mr. Turner.
Commissioner that's presenting this made some comments about how the money would be expected to be used, and in this motion here, we're not stating that. Would we have to be specific at this point if that's what our intentions were? Otherwise, it just says exclusively for kindergarten through 12th grade, which is however the school system would want to use it, which could be all for salary or all for. So I guess I'd ask our counselor if this is the time, if it even needs to be addressed at this point, or could it come later after we see some momentum and something back from Nashville?
Well, it would ultimately have to be passed in Nashville so they could, do whatever with it at that time they wanted. But if you want this resolution amended to reflect that, you could vote on the resolution to be amended any way that you want it. We can make that change before it gets submitted.
So I guess that's what I was trying to bring out there. If that's what we would want to happen, we want to be specific before we go too far forward. And the other thing I would say is I appreciate that you got some support for it first, and that I'm all for gaining some revenue with some work being done in Nashville to bring it to us, but it's not something that I think we should count like we've got this in the bag, because this is going to take some time, and I won't say whether or not I think it'll pass or not, but I just need to say that it's not something that we need to be confident that we're going to have in the future. But I appreciate the work you put into it, and I would just defer that back to the commissioner to consider that if that's what your intentions were.
I'm open to any suggestions, but I intentionally left it open to wheel taxes tied to debt, which that's fine. But hope, someday maybe some commission will see a day that we get financially smarter and better and we don't have that. So I intentionally left it open that it doesn't affect maintenance of effort, and left it open and trust the school board to use it in the best way they need to, whether it be for whatever.
Point of order, I'd like to hang on for a second. We need a second to your motion, sir. I thought Mr. Turner was making a motion, and he had commentary.
But I will.
But you will. Okay, you had the floor, so Mr. Turner seconds that motion. Now, Mr. Bob and then Mr. Goff.
Is this just a request for Jefferson County only?
Well, it is, but if it passes, then I would suggest or ask that we send it to all other 94 counties and see how much support they would.
In other words, you would allow them to sign on?
Oh, yeah, if it passed in the state, every county in the state would get their portion of the lottery money.
Anyone else question or comment? Mr. Goff?
I mean, I see this just as, like you said, the sponsorship of the legislation. If it were to pass, would we not then come back and develop a resolution of some sort to accept that money, and then what we're going to do with it?
Sure.
So I wouldn't think there would be any need to try to direct the money that...
You're asking to pass something right now. You haven't received anything yet.
Right.
Anyone else? Let's move. If not, we'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker?
Yes.
Todd Kesterson?
Yes.
Steve Douglas?
Yes.
David Galt?
Yes.
Randy Baxter? Rita Music?
Yes.
John McGraw?
Yes.
Russell Turner?
Yes.
Tim Seals?
Yes.
Sammy Solomon?
Yes.
Robert Blevins?
Yes.
Gene Esslinger?
Yes.
Randy Bales?
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett?
Yes.
Terry Dockery?
Yes.
Robert Tucker?
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael?
Yes.
David Seal?
Yes.
Bob Dealer?
Yes.
Barbara Sheets?
Yes.
20-0. Resolution passed. Moving on to B, we have a resolution 2015-08, a rezoning request from A1 to I1 for property located on 3204 Chestnut Hill Road.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir.
before we get a motion and vote, I need to abstain on all rezonings since I'm the zoning and planning director.
Thank you, sir.
Move the
Ms.
motion.
Scarlett.
Move the motion.
Move the motion. Seconded by Mr. Seals. Question or comment? Anybody? Mr. Terry?
Just going to let you know I'm going to need to read this conflict.
Sure.
When we vote.
Anyone else? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker?
Yes.
Todd Kesterson?
Yes.
Steve Douglas?
Yes.
David Galt?
Yes.
Randy Baxter?
Yes.
Rita Music?
Yes.
John McGraw?
Yes.
Russell Turner?
Yes.
Tim Seals?
Abstain.
Sammy Solomon?
Yes.
Robert Blevins?
Yes.
Gene Esslinger?
Yes.
Randy Bales?
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett?
Yes.
Terry Dockery?
Because I'm an employee of Bush Brothers and Company, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal about to be voted. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience and to my obligation to my constituents and the citizens this body represents. Yes.
Robert Tucker?
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael?
Yes.
David Seal?
Yes.
Bob Dealer?
Yes.
Barbara Sheets?
Yes.
Resolution passes 20-0. 19-0, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, we got one abstain. Moving right along, we got Budget Committee Chairman John Neal Scarlett with Budget Committee recommendations. Mr. Scarlett, you have the floor.
All right. The reason I asked that this be moved, if you all would, we've got a General Capital Projects 171, and if you'll turn over with that, this was passed by the Budget Committee, and we need to unreserve the $145,577, which Mr. Potts had stated earlier was with the purchase of land for the County Highway Department. And it had not been used, it actually had been paid out of another fund, and this money was sitting in an account. And at this time, based on what we did, we passed that in the Budget Committee. Therefore, I moved to unreserve that as a Budget Committee Chairman, and it was approved by the Budget Committee. And we have to do this before we can do the other amendment.
Right, all right. Question or comment? You want a roll call vote, Mr. Scarlett?
Yes, you'll need a roll call.
I would think so.
Katie Huffaker?
Yes.
Todd Kesterson?
Yes.
Steve Douglas?
Yes.
David Galt?
Yes.
Randy Baxter? Rita Music?
Yes.
John McGraw?
Yes.
Russell Turner?
Yes.
Tim Seals?
Yes.
Sammy Solomon?
Yes.
Robert Blevins?
Yes.
Gene Esslinger?
Yes.
Randy Bales?
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett?
Yes.
Terry Dockery?
Yes.
Robert Tucker?
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael?
Yes.
David Seal?
Yes.
Bob Beeler?
Yes.
Barbara Sheets?
Yes.
20-0. Mr. Scarlett, you have the floor once again.
All right. We'll start, and I'll try to do these as quick as we can. First one, fund balance adjustment, General Fund 101, Amendment 5. It is a transfer of tax litigation service that was moved in, and this has to deal back with the amendment I referred you to start with. We have to move this money out of there. It was not booked in the right place. Therefore, it has to be moved back to the capital account because it was not done for this year. I move it.
Question or comment? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker?
Yes.
Todd Kesterson?
Yes.
Steve Douglas?
Yes.
David Galt?
Yes.
Randy Baxter?
Yes.
Rita Music?
Yes.
John McGraw?
Yes.
Russell Turner?
Yes.
Tim Seals? Sammy Solomon?
Yes.
Robert Blevins?
Yes.
Gene Esslinger?
Yes.
Randy Bales?
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett?
Yes.
Terry Dockery?
Yes.
Robert Tucker?
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael?
Yes.
David Seal?
Yes.
Bob Beeler?
Yes.
Barbara Sheets?
Yes.
20-0. Mr. Scarlett?
Next, we have General Fund 101, Amendment 7. This is clearing up some accounts, changing it, moving within large line items. Does not affect fund balance. I move it.
Question or comment? This would not require a roll call vote?
Does not require a roll call vote.
Anyone opposed? If not, so moved.
Next, we have a general fund balance, or fund balance adjustments, General Fund 101 adjustment from the bonus amendment. It is an effect on, it puts it where it's supposed to be in all the little different categories. It does affect fund balance. We need a roll call vote. I move it.
Sure. Question or comment? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker?
Yes.
Todd Kesterson?
Yes.
Steve Douglas?
Yes.
David Galt?
Yes.
Randy Baxter?
Yes.
Rita Music?
Yes.
John McGraw?
Yes.
Russell Turner?
Yes.
Tim Seals?
Yes.
Sammy Solomon?
Yes.
Robert Blevins?
Yes.
Gene Esslinger?
Yes.
Randy Bales?
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett?
Yes.
Terry Dockery?
Yes.
Robert Tucker?
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael?
Yes.
David Seal?
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
Passes 20-0. Mr. Scarlett.
Next is fund balance adjustment, hospital fund, 128, amendment 2. This is for your drawdown for the construction until the bonds are sold, and then it will be reimbursed. Is that correct, Mr. Potts?
Correct.
This is your current drawdown. This is the payments for January and February. Out of the $2.8 million appropriated, you have $340,342.48 left. I move it. You do need a roll call vote.
Yes, I know. Question or comment? Not, Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker.
Yes.
Todd Kester.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
David Goff.
Yes.
Randy Baxter.
Yes.
Rita Music.
Yes.
John McGraw.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
Yes.
Tim Seals. Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
Yes.
Gene Esslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett.
Yes.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Robert Tucker.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Yes.
David Seal.
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
20-0.
Next is sinking fund, debt service 151. This amendment moves line items between different numbers. It's just clean up on accounting. Does not have any effect on the numbers, just place it in the right thing. Does not require roll call.
Question or comment, Mr. Baxley?
Can we not group some of these, Commissioner?
Be glad to if you want.
That's what I was trying to do, sir.
All right. I'll go through the rest of them. We can do one roll call vote.
Yes.
We actually only have one more that requires roll call vote, but we can do all of it at one time if you want to.
Yes.
Let's do
The
it.
remaining, you've got the general capital project fund that I talked to you before, where we moved the money. By doing everything that Mr. Potts found, we have $64,000 there. You have highway fund amendment 2. You have sanitation 116. Sanitation 207. I move them all.
Question or comment? Mr. Turner.
One question we had at the budget committee level about the 2 trucks for 2,500. Did we get an answer on that?
We did. I've got pictures of trucks. If you would pass them down to Mr. Turner.
That's really not required, but that's great.
Not a problem. Got you covered.
That's not $2,500 trucks. They must.
They're pretty doggone good trucks. They did a good job.
Did you do that? Good job. Great job.
Mr. Clerk? Mr. Tucker?
Item K, School General Fund 141.
We're not on the schools.
Thank you.
We're only on county.
Okay. I was just wanting to make sure about that item 5. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Huffaker.
Yes.
Todd Kesterson.
Yes.
Steve Douglas.
Yes.
David Goff.
Yes.
Randy Baxter.
Yes.
Rita Music.
Yes.
John McGraw.
Yes.
Russell Turner.
Yes.
Tim Seals.
Yes.
Sammy Solomon.
Yes.
Robert Blevins.
Yes.
Gene Esslinger.
Yes.
Randy Bales.
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett.
Yes.
Terry Dockery.
Yes.
Robert Tucker.
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael.
Yes.
David Seal.
Yes.
Bob Beeler.
Yes.
Barbara Sheets.
Yes.
Okay, next we have General Purpose Fund 141, School Budget Amendment. On this amendment, number 5 was removed by the Budget Committee. Talked to Mr. Potts. School Administration does not wish to move it at this time. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. None affect fund balance. I move it.
Question or comment?
It's federal. We got to do it separate.
Does not affect fund balance. Does anyone object? If not, so move.
Next one is federal, and I separated them because we have to do them separate. 142, does not affect fund balance. I move it.
Question or comment? Anyone object? So moved.
Next one is fund balance adjustments, General Fund 101. It was a request by the Conservation Board, $3,000 to cover land survey. It comes from unrestricted fund balance. It passed the committee. I move it.
Question or comment? We'll have to call the roll. Mr. Seal.
Clarify that for me.
Sir.
Just clarify what we're voting on there.
What we're voting on, there was a request on a 17-acre tract the Conservation Board was going to be given by the IDB. They requested $3,000. It was referred to the Budget Committee, requested $3,000 for a survey because this tract, if I'm understanding it, Mr. Tucker, it contains the Health Department and it was going to have to be surveyed out. That's right. And this request is for the survey and associated costs of transferring the deed.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Question or
comment? And it
comment?
would be transferred to the county. Is that correct, Mr. Tucker? Okay. Now, this is not in any way affecting the property. This only deals with the money.
Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Katie Heffaker?
Yes.
Todd Kesterson?
Yes.
Steve Douglas?
Yes.
David Galt?
Yes.
Randy Baxter?
Yes.
Rita Music?
Yes.
John McGraw?
Yes.
Russell Turner?
Yes.
Tim Seals? Sammy Solomon?
Yes.
Robert Blevins?
Yes.
Gene Esslinger?
Yes.
Randy Bales?
Yes.
John Neal Scarlett?
Yes.
Terry Dockery?
Yes.
Robert Tucker?
Yes.
Jimmy Carmichael?
Yes.
David Seal?
Yes, sir.
Bob Beeler?
Yes.
Barbara Sheets?
Yes.
Passes 20-0. Mr. Scarlett, does that conclude?
That concludes the Budget Committee meeting. Other than we did set a schedule, I think I told you all that last time. All department heads will be required to meet the schedule. If you don't, we're going to go on. We're going to appropriate your money. We're going to try to have the budget to the commission in June for vote before the fiscal year ends. Might be something new. Hadn't happened before. Next, on our county commission minutes of June 17, 2013, we passed a general fund budget amendment number 9, line 1. Chairman Griffin stated the Parrott family heirs have agreed to use county funds for non-real property, books, and furnishing. This amendment is contingent upon the lease, and it has to do with the Parrottwood Library. Mr. Jack Kramer's here if you need to ask him any questions. And what this is, they run into a problem on a grant match, and we need to strike the verbiage in that where it says non-real property and insert the word construction expense. And that's all we need to do. The amendment stands and everything. We're just striking the verbiage, non-real property, books, furnishings, etc., and inserting the word construction expense.
Question or
And
comment?
that's my motion. It does
That's your
require a
motion.
second.
Mr. Turner?
Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Question or comment? Does anyone oppose? So moved. Moving right along, Conservation Board, Mr. Robert Tucker, do you have business?
Yes, sir. The Conservation Board operates at the pleasure of County Commission, and we need to accept the $3,000 to go ahead and get the survey done. We would like to have a meeting, request the surveyor come to our next Conservation Board meeting next month, and we've got some particulars we want to run through with him so that he knows not only to do a survey and break out that piece of land, but to also look at and identify any liabilities that we may be accepting by accepting that tract of land. So I actually want to do this E on our agenda in two pieces. The first thing I would like to do is recommendation from Conservation Board is allow us to accept that $3,000. So I want to move that first by itself.
So, Mr. Tucker, you want to make the motion? It's seconded by Mr. Seals. Question or comment? We are moving money.
You're not moving money, you're accepting.
You're accepting it. I think we can do it by consent. That's what I thought. Anyone opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the second part would be that pending the findings of this survey, if everything comes back positive, we would then accept the 17 acres. So I do move that we accept it pending a positive survey. If there's any liens, if there's any major liabilities, if there's anything found on that land that's going to cause the county problems, then you know, this motion would include the fact that we're accepting the 17 acres to the county, and we will move forward with that, but it is pending this successful survey.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Tim Seals. Question or comment? Anyone opposed? So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Does that conclude your business, Mr. Tucker?
Yes, sir.
All right, we have beer board. Will be a motion to adjourn, and we'll have to reconvene for beer board.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made, duly seconded.